Hello, welcome to Iridium Rock and Metal Reviews, and special welcome to the Maiden fans out there. You probably wouldn't have clicked on this if you're not a Maiden fan, because you already know their music. Everyone does who's into rock and metal, and you either don't like them or you fucking love them, just like I do. So this one is Maiden's top songs, my favourite songs, remember? So very subjective. This is just my favourites through the years. Everyone's got their own opinions on this, obviously, and I'd love to hear them in the comments below. Everyone's got their favourite era of Maiden, whether it be the Paul Di'Anno part, the Blaze Bayley, or the Bruce Dickinson part. So I didn't want to. There's a lot of this covers a lot of their career. It was so hard after the Queensryche top songs. I was thinking, oh, I'm going to have to do Maiden, but I was thinking that's going to take forever, and it has. I've whittled it down to 16. I had about at least 50 that I wanted to include them all, and obviously I can't go on about them forever because it would be too long a video. So I've got it down to 16. It's going to be long enough as it is. And this, like I said, this does cover quite a bit of their catalogue. There's some albums that just, oh, I want to include every song on it, but you know, this is what I've got. Please comment below what your favourites are. If you disagree with me, let me know. But let me know what your favourites are and the reasons why. Right. So 16. I'm going to go from 16 to number 1. A lot of these songs I've noticed. I love nearly all their music. I love a lot of their singles, but they're not the singles that weren't some of my top favourite tracks. A lot of the deeper cuts are with Maiden. So let's go. Number 16, The Prophecy of Seventh Son of the Seventh Son. This is, like I said, a bit of a deeper cut from them. Not so well known, not everyone's favourite, but I really love this song. I love the way it comes in with a little quiet guitar bit at the beginning, then all hell breaks loose. She just comes into it with a real brilliant riff. When I first heard it, I thought it was a bit Metallica-ish. I don't know why, but then it chugs into that excellent groove with Bruce singing over the top. Brilliant song, this one. Just I'll try and cover what I think the song's about. So obviously it's a concept album, Seventh Son of Seventh Son, and I think this can, the simplest terms, and you know, I might be wrong on some of these. I've looked into it quickly. This is the seventh son seen an upcoming disaster, and people don't believe him. That's what I can make out of the song. So that's my number 16. Number 15, Lord of Light, off A Matter of Life and Death. Now, out of their since Bruce and Adrian came back in the band, I think Matter of Life and Death is my favourite album from them. Perhaps Brave New World could have, I don't know, I fight between them two all the time. It's really difficult. But it's definitely one of my favourite albums from them. And Lord of Light is an absolutely superb song that fits just right in on the album. The subject matter, the matter of life and death, is that every song was about war, but I think this seems to have connections with the devil as well, and how he controls people. Maybe connection between war and the devil, I don't know. But it's an absolutely brilliant song. It's one of those epic ones that Maiden always bring out on an album, and you know, they had lots on it on this Matter of Life and Death album. Brilliant song, Lord of Light. That was my number 15. Number 14, If Eternity Should Fail, off the Book of Souls album. You know what, Maiden's, I used to, back when Bruce first came in the band, when he took over, I thought some of the opening tracks on the albums were some of the best. But then, like, since him and Adrian have been back in it, I think some of the singles are usually the first song. They're not my favourites from Maiden, but this was a brilliant start-up track off the album. I love the way the long intro at the beginning and the way it kicks in. There's some real intricacy of the guitars. Beautiful song, absolutely beautiful. I think it's about death and knowing that everything comes to an end. That's what I can make out with the lyrics. But a brilliant start off the new album. Absolutely super. It's not new now. but what a start off for an album that was. The best one there's been for a while. Number 13, These Colours Don't Run, off A Matter of Life and Death again. So yeah, this was a real good song. I think it's the second song in. It's about going to war, obviously fitting in with the theme of the album. There's a lot of songs on this album. We're going to say epic a lot when I'm talking about Maiden songs, because that's what they are. But this is a real heavy but intricate. Lyrics are absolutely superb. Probably one of the favourite songs off of Matter of Life and Death for me. It's just about going to war for your country, I believe. Absolutely superb song. Brilliant. Can't get enough of it. Right, number 12, Phantom of the Opera, off the self-titled debut album. So Bruce is my favourite singer of Maiden, but I think Di'Anno's, he'd done a really good job. I know they was mixing it was a bit of a punky vibe back then as well. Maiden were a different sort of band back then. I've got a lot of memories when it comes to this album. This was obviously the first album I heard. I thought it was an absolutely amazing. I think Running Free was the first song I ever heard of Maiden, and this didn't come long after. Obviously, this was so intricate, and it was so ahead of its time, back then. And I think this is what was to come with Maiden. Some of their punkier stuff, like I said, they went completely from that, and they developed and into something else completely different. But this showed signs of what they are, what they became as well. The epic feel that apparently is really hard to play on, the instrument, the guitar on this song. It's really difficult to play, and it sounds it as well. And back then in 1980, I think it was 80, I was like, shit, what is that? That sounds completely different. They're so intricate on the guitars. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, and it stayed with me to this day. It's still a brilliant song. I suppose you could look at the obvious of what the song's about, but I don't think it's about the Phantom of the Opera as such. I think it's about someone who's stalking someone, to me. That's what it's at, or woman to me. That was my number 12. My number 11, Passchendaele, off Dance of Death. This is a standout track for me off of Dance of Death. Obviously, it's an excellent storytelling. It's another epic song. I don't even know how long it is, but it's at least about 7 minutes long, I believe. 6, 7 or 8 minutes long. They really create like being there and some of their songs, the way they tell stories and the way they songwrite. This is an absolutely fabulous song. The little quiet bits then building up to heavy again and back and forth. It just goes in so many places, and obviously this covers the Battle of Passchendaele for World War One. But they just paint such a brilliant picture, Iron Maiden. They tell a story like no other band. So that was my number 11, Passchendaele. Number 10, Infinite Dreams, Seventh Son of Seventh Son. So yeah, this is a concept album. Obviously, as we mentioned before, it seems to be this is just about someone who's plagued with their visions, like the Seventh Son, plagued by the visions he keeps seeing. Brilliant vocal performance by Bruce on here. Funnily enough, back when this came out, and I think it was 88, I wasn't too keen on this album. I've got to admit it. I thought it was a step down. I think Summer in Time was before. I wasn't too keen on the sound of it. I think it sounded a bit poppier and a bit, I don't know, back when you're in England living in in the 80s, when a band starts using keyboards, you think, oh shit, what's happening there? What happened to my heaviest band that I love? I don't know. And then I came back in to listen to that at a later stage, probably, quite a few years later, and fell in love with the album. Absolutely love it. It's not right up there with my favourite albums, but it's still there. But Infinite Dreams it's the Maiden we all love. It's that epic feel again. It's Bruce singing some brilliant notes. The way I've seen him sing this live as well, it's effort. It's such no effort there at all to sing it in that chorus where half of us will be struggling to breathe to get the words out. What a voice, what a control with his voice. What a good song that is, Infinite Dreams. My number 9, Remember Tomorrow, off the self-titled album. This is Paul Di'Anno's best vocal performance, in my opinion. And like I said, this stood out from the punky vibe that you got in the Iron Maiden album. And this was another, you know, it's from quiet to loud, and when it kicks in with with a loud guitar and all them come in, brilliant. I know that a lot of people didn't like the production of the first album, but you know, it wasn't. It was looked at all right back then. I thought it sounded all right back then. You can hear the difference now, but what a song that is! Remember Tomorrow. And like I said, Paul Di'Anno's best vocal performance, in my opinion. Number 8, Power Slave, off the Power Slave album. This is my favourite album of Iron Maiden's catalogue, Power Slave. I just spent years listening to this, staring at the cover, getting into the music, looking at the lyrics, and I love this. I love this song. I love that, obviously, the Egyptian feel of the song. I think the song is about, you know, no matter who we are, no matter how important we are in life. I don't think it's particularly about a pharaoh itself, but it's using that as an example. You know, we all die, and that's it, you know. And but the song itself, that I just love that. Like I said, that Egyptian guitar playing. I just think it's really clever. Sounds really technical. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. What a standout track that is. My number 7. So a bit of a deeper cut now. Probably not everyone's favourite, but Still Life of Peace of Mind. What a brilliant song. What a brilliant song. A bit of a simpler song, I suppose, for Maiden. You know, the chords in it are a little bit more, not as intricate as they normally play. But I love this song. I absolutely love it. And it sounds, the thing is, a lot of the Peace of Mind album, that along that era, a number of the Beast, Peace of Mind and Power Slave, it sounds as fresh now as it did back then. And what a great song. What a great, and it come and goes in, it seems like in a couple of minutes, but it is superb. I think it's about suicide and literally drowning in suicide. That's what it seems like to me. Number 6, Goes to the Navigator off Brave New World. What a return to form this was after, you know, when Bruce and Adrian came back in the band. I don't think there's been as much energy in the band even since. I think they've made some great albums, but the energy in this album, it seems to happen, doesn't it, when you get back together and the ideas flowing. And I think the last album that had as much energy as this before this was probably Power Slave to me. But it was right back in there as if there was a brand new band, and the production on it. I know people complained about the production before. It sounded a bit weak. I love it. So clear. Superb song. I think it's about chasing your dreams, and it's using yet again they use an analogy, don't they, of Journey Across the Sea. I don't think obviously that they use some of their lyrics where you can interpret it in a different way, but love Goes to the Navigator. And yet again, it's a real intricate song. Sounds difficult to play. Really good, really good guitaring on that as well. Right, number 5 off Power Slave album, The Duelists. Oh. This is more like a duel between the guitarists, if you know what I mean. I mean, this is a real guitar-driven song. Bruce sings a little bit in the first couple of minutes, then he comes with it on the end of a 7 or 8 minute song. I can't remember how long the song is. I know it's a long song, but there's a guitar. The guitar solos go on for about 4 or 5 minutes in between the singing, and it sums up the Power Slave feel of the album. The guitaring, the intricate guitaring, it was probably the most intricate album that they had, the most technical, in my opinion. To listen to it, you think it all sounds difficult to play, this album. And The Duelist is yet another deeper cut that not everyone loves. Absolutely love it. One of my top tracks of Iron Maiden. Number 4, To Tame a Land, Peace of Mind album. I think this is about, it is about the book, June, that was written. I don't think it's about anything to do with the film as such. Yet again, this has really got an interesting sound to it, like foreign, like an Egyptian type sound on the way they play it. I love the way, I've never read the book. I might have seen the film when I was younger, but it paints such a picture when Bruce is singing these lyrics about the things in the world of June, you know. it's just mad the way they explain things and the way they write. Absolutely brilliant songwriters, these guys. I think that yeah, Tamerlan closed the album out, and I think it's one of the fans' favourites. This one as well. It's one of them ones at the end of the album. Absolutely love it. Brilliant, Tamerlan. Number 3. This is probably going to be at the top of a lot of people's lists. It's a very, you know, a fan favourite. Hallowed Be Thy Name off Number of the Beast. So yeah, I mean, this is a superb song. I suppose this is the song that if someone said, look, I know there'd be people here, younger people maybe, you know, that like metal, started liking metal and say, I never heard Maiden. Please play me a Maiden song that just sums the band up. I think Hallowed Be Thy Name would be it. It's got that epic feel. It's got the quiet bits. It's just superb. You know, what a vocal performance by Bruce and everyone in the band. The way it builds up, the energy at the end, you know, and I don't know, it's just another one where they get to paint a picture and you get to feel how the person is in the song. Obviously, they're using someone's been condemned to death innocently by the looks of it, and it's like them coming to terms with God and dying. Brilliant song. What can you say about Hallowed Be Thy Name? All you Maiden fans will know exactly what I'm talking about. Number 2, Where Eagles Dare off Peace of Mind. My favourite opening track of a Maiden album, and one of my favourite, obviously, it's number 2 Maiden tracks of all time. Again, it's one of them songs, a bit like the Duelists, where you get a bit of singing for a couple of minutes from Bruce at the beginning. Then you get an amazing bit of guitar work in between. Not all solos, but some brilliant chords being played, some excellent stuff from the rhythm section of this. Absolutely love that part, and then coming back in again at the end, obviously with Bruce. Epic song. It's obviously about a world. It may be about the book or the film or both. I think the film starred Clint Eastwood at the time, so about a mission in World War II, like an impossible mission, if you like, by some spies taking a castle in the Alps. So that was what it was about. But painting a picture perfectly again. It's like poetry with Maiden in it. Superb. My number one. You might have guessed what it's going to be by now because you haven't heard it on the list, because it's going to be on most people's lists. Rime of the Ancient Mariner off Power Slave. This was something. There's bands now that obviously write, you know, they write 15, 16, 20-minute songs even now, you know, but this is what it was unheard of back then. It was unheard of, but there's still it's head and shoulders above any of those bands that try and write those long songs, and there's been some great ones. Look at what I mentioned the other day, Ice Turf and their Gettysburg song, you know, superb song, but this song does it like no other long song you've ever heard, and it keeps you captivated, never bored. Little, you know, that little bit in the middle of the song where it quietens down just for the right amount of time. It doesn't go on too long. Then back into the song. There's a part there where Bruce screams, and then comes the rain, that bit, and then it sort of slows down the tempo and it comes back into it, and it's one of the most powerful bits of musicianship I've ever heard from Maiden or any other band. Love it. Absolutely love it. That song never gets old, always fresh to this day. So that's it. My Maiden top songs are done. That was a difficult list, but I hope everyone liked it. I hope everyone's going to put some comments at the bottom what they think and what their lists are. I must admit, with Yannick Gers in the band, I preferred it with Adrian and Dave Murray. I preferred it with just those two guitar players. I think sometimes with the recent albums especially, it sounds a bit of a, even though I love them, I think sometimes the guitars get lost, and you can't hear the guitar playing so well. And I know they're brilliant guitar players, but I think I prefer it as a 5-piece, and he's a good player, Yannick Gers, obviously, and he done a really good job. He has done for all these years, but it's just my preference. I think the two guitar sounds, you can hear it all a lot clearer. You know, it was weird. Brave New World, you couldn't really tell from me it was 3 guitars, but since then, Dance Death onwards, you can really tell. You know, but well done for like keeping the guy in the band. I thought it was brilliant, and nah, they are a superb band anyway, no matter what. So thank you very much for listening. Hope you've enjoyed the list. It was really hard, and like I said, give me your list below, or your favourite song, or your top 5, whatever you want to do. And please subscribe to the channel. Bottom right hand corner, there's a little button there, red button, press that. And cheers, I'll see you next time.